Hi there, I'm Rex King. Welcome back to the series where I review films currently in theaters. Today I'm talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the first film in the Black Panther series to be released after Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing. This film centers around Shuri, played by Leticia Wright, who was T'Challa's sister as she mourns his passing. However, the world soon comes under threat from this being called Namor, who leads this group of beings who live in a city under the sea. And they are threatening to invade the surface world, starting with Wakanda. So Wakanda has to rally its forces while mourning the death of one of their greatest heroes. This film is very emotional. It really wants to honor Chadwick Boseman's death, and we get to see the characters grieve his death. They grieve the death of T'Challa while the actors grieve the death of Chadwick Boseman, and it comes off as real. This is not something you can sugarcoat, and it doesn't sugarcoat it. These people are going through a real bout of grief, and they show it throughout the entire runtime. Another thing that works in this film is Namor. If you're not familiar with Namor, in the comics he's an Atlantean, but they can't use Atlantis because DC used Atlantis in the Aquaman movie, so they didn't want to use Atlantis for this one, so they used more of a Mayan city, which I also thought was pretty interesting change up, and I thought it worked really well for Namor specifically. And I like how they portray him as someone who just wants what he believes is the only way to protect his people. So he's on a quest to burn down the world to protect his people, while the other group of people, the Wakandans, are grieving and are struggling with the world themselves because the world is trying to take advantage of the fact that they have lost their protector in the Black Panther. And the film really shows this conflict well. It shows both sides of the conflict and doesn't really say that either side is incredibly wrong. It's what makes Namor a compelling villain, and we haven't had a compelling villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a little while. So I'm glad to see that here. Then we have the characters. And the characters are all good in this film, with the exception of some side characters. I didn't feel like there was a need for so many side characters. Like we have Ironheart, we have the CIA agent from the first movie who comes back in this film, and whenever we focused on them, it tried to shift to a more comedic tone, and it just didn't work with the emotional tone of the rest of the film. I feel like you could have cut those subplots out and focused on the emotional depth of the conflict between Wakanda and Namor and his group, and really made a better film, and probably even a shorter one, because this film is a 2 hour and 40 minute movie. And don't get me wrong, I didn't feel bored or feel like the film was dragging its feet at any point, but it just felt like whenever they switched to the more comedic tones by focusing on the side characters, it just didn't feel right. Then you have the performances, and all the performances are spectacular in this film. But I want to talk specifically about Leticia Wright and Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett plays the Queen of Wakanda, and these two have such a hard job because with Chadwick Boseman gone, it was up to them to step up to the plate and hold this movie on their shoulders. Leticia Wright went from a supporting character to a main character overnight, almost, and Angela Bassett has to also add some more emotional depth because her character is not just sitting on the sidelines anymore. Her character is front and center as the Queen of Wakanda. So she is a very important character as well, as opposed to the last movie where she really wasn't as important as some of the other characters. So it's nice to see these two actresses step up, and they did a great job, and they blew it out of the water. I really enjoyed their performances, especially when we were delving into their grief. Then we have the visuals, and the visuals here are okay for the most part. I didn't feel like the CGI was overused, which is good. My main complaint is the design of the undersea people that Namor leads. I forget the name in the movie because I couldn't pronounce it to save my life. And they're people with blue skin who wear Mayan garbs, I guess. Yeah, they look kind of ridiculous, and it just doesn't work for me because we're supposed to take them as a threat, but I couldn't take them seriously at all because of the way they were designed. That being said, I kind of get why they didn't go with the more traditional comic book designs because, well, their comic book designs would have been more goofy in this more realistic world and probably would have ruined the tone of the film. But I just couldn't get over it. I was like looking at them the entire movie like, wow, they look stupid. That's what I thought throughout most of the film whenever they were on screen. With the exception of Namor, I love his design, but everyone else just, it didn't work for me. That being said, I did think that the visuals held up as far as CGI goes, the fighting goes, the camera work, all of that was spot on. Just the design of Namor's group was a little off, in my opinion. Then you have the score by Ludwig Göransson. I probably mispronounced that name. I apologize if I did. And his score here is really well done. I really enjoyed the elements of tribal music that they have when Wakanda's on screen, and then they switch to a more Latin undertone whenever Namor and his group are on screen, and it really molds well together. And I really enjoyed hearing it, and I really enjoyed a lot of the little songs that we have in the background as well. I thought they elevated the movie. I really enjoyed the score of this film. I did enjoy this movie. I just had problems with some of the more comedic tones and some problems with the way the characters of Namor's group was designed. I just didn't feel like that was the right way to go. But at the end of the day, I do think this is a good movie. And if you are looking for an emotionally just pulverizing film, then this film is for you. If you're looking for something a little more lighthearted, I got nothing. This is not that movie. I give the film a 7 out of 10. If there was just a little less comedy, I think I would have given it more of a high score. But as it stands right now, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Anyway, that's what I thought about Black Panther Wakanda Forever. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.